said about the economy, that it is unstable. Customers want quick solutions. Could you say a few words about it? It's a great question. I have my own startup too, which is growing fast now. It's interesting how my colleagues approach this task. They got together and decided to organize an internet store. They wanted to launch it in a week. Is it possible? A week is something unrealistic. I thought it was too much. Actually, we launched the site within 2 days and connected the necessary systems, which we took from the cloud. How is it done? You take cloud service, which is accessible in the internet. We took Office 365. We took link plus email to interact between ourselves. The price per month, the fee per month is like 2 cups of coffee. About 300 rubles a month, nothing. We took one of our guys and he used one of the samples and he made a website about our company. Then we asked our partner on the basis of Sedja. It is possible. This partner uses Windows Sedja, and he built an internet store on its basis.
So you can connect to 1S and have your hosting through the cloud. So it's very easy to do all these things and introduce all the data that you want to sell. Well, we had only like 50 items of different products, and we did all the uploading very fast. It means that it won't take you long to set up your startup business, and you don't have to invest a lot of money, except for some money for these cloud services and cloud resources. Actually, they're free at first because you have to test them, and so you can see how your hypothetical solution works, and then you can either expand it or just be happy and use it. And so that was my approach that I used, and I can give you more details if you're interested. Are there any questions in the audience? The person should speak in the microphone, otherwise I cannot hear what he says. So it's true that this cloud infrastructure is developed by Microsoft, and we want to open data center based on the local context and on the regional context. At the moment, in order to meet the supply, the closest center we use is in Europe, and we have the channel to get connected with it. And there's very short delay in traffic. We are not sure how it's going to develop in the future because it all depends on demand. So if you're going to use it very often, then we'll build a similar center in Russia. But now we do not see a possibility for us to open data center here in Russia. But again, it will depend on the context, and we don't have any technical restrictions as far as this concerns. The internet shop, how much could it cost? Well, Our Russian partners have internet shops, and they are tuned for Russian specifics. But I mean the ready-made package, how much would it cost? If you take advanced shop or some other options, I can show you a good example of an internet shop by one of the companies, and actually they have 1S or other ERP system, because of course you have to get this accounting system, and the internet shop is only like a window that shows all the products. But a startup company doesn't know anything about ERP, so, well, it's an accounting system, but can they get an entire package of services from you? There are two scenarios. So what can we do if we want to open up a business? There are two approaches. You can use the internet and just use a search engine, for example, internet shop, data storage, joint work, and you'll get you'll get many resources, with one of them being Microsoft, and you can choose what you want. If you want to be effective here and to sell everything fast, you can get you can just contact one of our partners, and you can get the list of our partners on the website. The second scenario would be to go to the partner which is doing this work already, because they integrate these systems together. One of the problems that we have and our partners had is related to integration. If you choose different services from different partners, then you'll have a problem as to how to integrate all those services. Therefore, we have partners who can do it. They can connect all these systems and make one. So it depends on the resources that you're going to use. The cost may be very low at first, but then later on it can be about 100 or 1,000 rubles per month. So, but anyway, that's not very big money, and I'm sure you'll be able to cover this with your operating costs. So what should the budget be like? Well, we speak in abstract terms. It can cost $500,000, or maybe it can cost nothing, zero. Do you have any questions? They should be brief, ideally.
Okay, perfect. So, why would I use Azure as a developer? Why would I use Azure instead of using something like as a software as a service like Google Cloud Engine, or something like Amazon Web Services, as I'm currently using AWS? Why would I choose to use Azure instead of this for my projects and my?
Would be very. I will answer in Russian, just interested in majority of audience.
Yes.
So, I'm as a developer. Why should I choose Windows platform and not some other cloud platform that are available on the market? Well, first of all, our platform is the widest platform in terms of functionality and functions, but it depends on the goals that you have. And my arguments can be different. From the price point of view, they all provide services at the same level of price. So there's no difference in terms of price between different suppliers. But then if you get to the next level, speaking about the services on the platform, then the services, some services can make your process much faster, and you provide your services much faster. So it depends on the price. If you want to create a mobile application, our package has, for example, these features that can provide certification, Active Direct for joining your network, or other providers like Facebook or Vkontakte. Then it's possible to provide millions of messages onto different mobile devices. I'll be happy to give you more details during the break. Otherwise, everybody will be bored, because there are very technical details related to the process of development. So shall we take another question? You all came for panel to this panel discussion. How are you going to organize this panel discussion? As far as I see, every speaker promotes their own product, but it doesn't look like a panel discussion to me. And so maybe you give us a chance to say something. So I guess we should take turns, and I would like to give the floor to Stas. Stas Protasov, it's Acronis company. Hello. My name is Stanislav Protasov. 15 years ago, I participated in the setup of two companies, Acronis and Parallels. Parallels is a company that deals with cloud infrastructure, sells different solutions all over the world, and Acronis is the company which focuses on data protection and backup in particular. I'm now spent 99% of my time with Acronis company, so I'm going to speak here on behalf of Acronis company. Even though I can tell you that my experience in Parallels was also useful, and actually I wanted to share my comments when I was listening to the previous speaker. So, first of all, I should say that we live in a very interesting time when IT environment is changing. The traditional approach when every business or every company, even a very small business, has its own system administrator who can be a postgraduate, just a student. So this approach is now in the past. And the major trends that we can witness now are that virtualization became a commodity, and there are no virtualized servers. There will be no virtualized service in the nearest future. Then cloud computations is the trend that appeared in the last few years, and all businesses use this. Maybe just some of them do not understand that they use these cloud computations, and they prefer to say that, oh, we use Google applications or something else, instead of saying that they're using clouds. Then mobility is a very powerful trend. This is what is called bring your own device in English. Your employees use their own pads, mobile phones to process the information that they work with and perform their work duties. And the data is growing very fast. And this results in both problems and solutions that can be very interesting. So by 2020, according to IDC, the data will grow by 50 times. So the data is gives the major value for business, because IT is not something we need. We actually need data. We need contact information related to my customers. We need information who works with these customers, and I speak about my staff, for example, what solutions have been made and what steps are going to be taken in the future. All this data is valuable, But we need systems that help us process this data, and all this data should be processed in real time. For example, if the manager says that they would contact the customer on Monday, and I have the note of this in my system, this is not enough. Your information system should mention this to you. It should inform you that today is Sunday and tomorrow your client will be waiting for your call. So there must be this, this should be mentioned. And besides that, the loss of data can cost a lot of money and can result in huge losses for your business. And I not necessarily speak only about accounting information. If you lose some data about your customers, you can lose a share of your business. Business is changing now. People prefer to work with those suppliers and those companies that had some positive experience already while working with those companies. So if you have a happy customer, then it's very rare that you lose this customer and that this customer turns to your competitor. The number of business structures is growing, lots of information, but people usually stick to those that they have already worked with, and that's very important. Can I interrupt you for a second? I'd love to add, maybe many of you heard this term, big data, which has become very fashionable. So one of the key principles of big data is not size. It's a new paradigm that implies you should collect all the data that you can reach, even though if you don't understand how to use that data, if you have a chance to tape some video, to record some data, if you want to, if you, for example, measure some temperature behind the window or other things, please store this data, because this data can help you identify dependencies that you could never think of. And there are many interesting examples that show this. So it's so not only contact data is important, but other data is also important, even though you don't understand why. I agree with that, and it's very complicated. Data analysis is a rocket science. It's very difficult to do. For example, there is this website called kinopoisk.ru, which is literally can be translated searching for film. When you choose a film, you try to get some information about this film. And there is a set of suggestions that can indicate other films that you might like, if you like that film. And behind this, there's a huge system that analyzes different criteria. So they analyze these films. If you use this resource, you feel that that the quality of those hints has improved a lot in the last few years. Even if you don't want to analyze this data, it's very important to store it, because it can affect the efficiency of your business and the ability to sell something else to your customer network. Getting back to slide deck, the information that 20% of administrators note the increase of backup volumes by 100 TB. So, and the medium-sized company is a company with staff members up to 1,000. So the volume of backup copies grow by 100 terabytes per year. Then more than 60% do not protect data on mobile devices, and that's a very interesting modern trend. If your employee uses his or her mobile to get some information from corporate network related to the customers, this employee can use this information for any kind of purposes, and they can steal it or can send it to competitors. So one of the new trends is protecting data on mobile devices. If the person, for example, the person, when the person can see some information but can't send it to anyone. Now speaking about our platform, we focus on protecting information in all kinds of environments and in all locations. So our system is made of these little cubes that help you build a data protection system for physical cloud, or cloud environment. So Dmitry said that we have a downturn in economy, and IT industry can see this. So people try to save money. I have a good example. The company Parallels, where I worked before, it focused on the service providers all over the world. Service providers like Telco, they were their customers. And then NT&T. So Parallels company made money depending on the end users that their partners had. And during the economic recession time, all their partners began to count how many active customers they had. Before that, they never bothered about this. They just bought licenses, and their users base was growing, and they kept paying for those customers. And in 2008, during economic recession, they began to count all their customers very accurately, and our revenues dropped by threefold. So the business begins to look very carefully on their IT structure, IT infrastructure. So even though this savings, like 5 to 7 cents per GB a month, doesn't look much, but still it can bring you some savings, significant savings if we speak about longer term. We are running out of time, unfortunately, because I want people to ask you some questions. Then I'll show you this slide, which gives information about our company, Acronis, and I'm ready to answer your questions. So if there are no questions, then you can say something else. Well, since you interrupted me, it's a bit difficult now. Well, anyway, you shouldn't underestimate the security of your data. Do you have any examples? Whenever we think about IT solutions, I usually recommend focusing on negative examples whenever we speak about marketing. Yeah, there are lots of negative examples. For example, if you say that you'll get 5 cents, you'll be able to save 5 to 7 cents, it's sort of abstract, sounds abstract, but when you say you might lose this and it would cost you this and that, well, speaking about losing data, not long ago, a system of video surveillance system was hacked, and it was road inspection system, and so it failed, and it didn't function for a few days, and so this resulted in several million per day. So if they created backup copies, and now we're actually working together on this, then they could restore everything just within the hour. So all this data are very special in a way that people can understand how valuable they are only when they lose it.
Okay, 2 more. It's Michael's turn now. I don't have a presentation. I'm not going to offer our products. I think it was the correct tactics to allow my colleagues to speak. Now you'll understand how different we are with Michael. We sell software for small businesses, very easy solutions, cloud technologies. And it's a different world. My colleagues are representatives of Enterprise Soft. We are naive and simple suppliers of simple solutions. Since this is not a purely IT audience, it's 50-50, IT specialists and entrepreneurs, it is not quite clear what topic is more important. Initially, the panel discussion about software, implementation of this software, I can only share my view with you about it. 2 previous presentations demonstrated a classical approach to business software, where there is a company that buys some kind of software. It is enterprise soft for big companies. All this world of enterprise software looks like this. Complicated words, 50% about something, 10% about something else, KPIs, cents, etc. To be honest with you, I don't understand everything, though I'm a professional. Now we see a big change. It's mobile devices. It now is changing the world significantly. So those who buy software and use software are different people in this world. Normally you sell to one type of people and then other group of people uses that. Now people are quite sophisticated. They use mobile devices. They buy software and they don't understand why when they buy software for themselves it's simple. However, if software is bought for a company, it is something awful, a lot of projects that last for 10 years, etc. And we, as suppliers of simple solutions, when people expect that all the corporate soft will be as easy as installing Angry Birds on your telephone. And since they have their own devices in their pocket, they sometimes prefer not to make their lives too complicated, but they use it from their device. I don't know what else I could tell you. It will be a topic for discussion a little later. Things are not as easy and so not everything can be placed in the cloud. This is a very interesting trend. I would like to add a few words about it. I'm not going to sell our solution with you. We offer CRM to maintain your customers, their history, etc. We call it CRM, though it is actually a lead management system. We can see a big deviation in the direction of the trend you're discussing and business situation when the solution about the sale has departed from IT, and we can see often that marketing director chooses the supplier of website, chooses the server, chooses the provider who will do it, and IT is losing control. Yes, logistic people also choose HR. So this is why such systems started appearing in the market. Yes. Once again, I would like to emphasize, since today, desktop is not the only environment in which a person works. And now, if a certain specialist has certain requirements, he can satisfy it on his own device without asking the assistance of web store or a manager, and he can just go to the web store and buy something he needs. However, if the company is growing and it is not small any longer, then this is not sufficient. In earlier days, a lot of different softs, like patches, was a drawback. Now it is a tough solution. We have small business, and I like modern CRM cloud solutions. I'm just in love with them. In love with what you are doing. It is quite a different level as compared to what we had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, there were also CRM solutions, and now everything is nice. And I think I'm now asking, I don't need it myself. However, the solutions that you are supplying, I mean Michael and the other Michael, they are too uniform, too standard for everyone. They're meant for everyone. My question is, why don't you develop easy adjustments when it is clear? CRM for beauty parlors, for hairdressers, CRM for a restaurant. There are not too many such types of business. Well, it's too early, maybe. We have a great potential of the growth with standard solutions, similar solutions, and when we exhaust the growth potential of standard solutions, time will come for vertical specialization. Well, CRM for a travel agency, well, doesn't require many changes. We have a discussion. You can provide some comments. I'm Mikhail Ukolov, and I will act as in two aspects. I am a vendor, if you know Megaplan company, cloud solutions. On the one hand, we provide solutions for internal communications in the company. automation, and development. Also, we work in the same segment as Mikhail, cloud CRM systems. We also have complex solutions in automation of business processes and IT for small companies. Another important aspect is that there are generally accepted SMB, small and medium-sized business. Microsoft means by medium-sized business where Megaplan does not have any customers, though we say that we also work in small and medium-sized businesses. In a Russian meaning and global meaning, these are different universes. On the other hand, I act as the head and founder of Penetrot company, one of the biggest internet stores in Russia, and we are big consumers of such solutions close to enterprise. And here I'm prepared to share my experience. What is service architecture of all our software infrastructure? What is ERP? How ERP is developed from a small store to a big store. And the first thing I would like to say is that people work in business. And if you do, if you develop software, you can use magic words that 99% of the company will not understand, or you can do it for people. It's no secret that 90% of work is done, financial work is done in Excel. You can say a lot about new system, but there is Excel that every accountant has, as well as directors and marketologists, and all of the calculations are made in Excel. Our competitor used to be Excel when we developed our systems. And these are simple things. If you run too far, the system of data storage safety percentage, people don't know what it means. People know how to send message, SMS. You don't have to tell them about it. Business, a small business is different from other companies. You can only make them buy what they really need. And everybody should understand it. I mean, those who try to sell something to small businesses. You can't describe something beautiful to them, and they will only buy what they really need badly. If it is, well, at certain periods you can buy even things that they don't need. 10 years ago, the word website was not used as often. What do you think? How many domains were registered in this country 10 years ago? Probably 20 or 30 times less. Only 10,000 domains. So why don't we have sectoral CRM systems? We decided to discuss it. The question is very simple. As companies are growing, there are fewer people who represent business processes in the company. Why is it easy to implement an simple CRM in a small business? Because everybody understands how sales function, how processes function. So what does each specialist do? Actually, they can do it themselves. He needs to press 3 buttons and that's it. 3 buttons and that's it. If you know what state machine is or ultimate automat, you can adjust transaction or contract management with a number of triggers, internal procession. From our customers, only 1% uses it because it is complicated. To implement this, you need a consultant who will prepare business process card for you. In the company, there is nobody who can do it himself. CEO makes money, other directors, marketing director, sales director, are all responsible for their respective parts. Well, only the CEO can do it, but he doesn't have the time for it. So you can't have customized solutions for small companies. Then the only solution is when the community of developers, on the basis of your platform, prepares a customized solution for you. It is not the vendor who does it. The vendor only prepares the basic business logics and probably the platform. What prevents you from doing it? We'll do it. Current level of technology allows you to develop CRM with external interface. Well, if you have a beauty parlors around your house, well, there are thousands of them in Moscow. And I don't think that you can make an appointment with a beauty parlor specialist. You need to phone them, and you need to find out whether your specialist works or not, and you can discuss the time with her. Technically, this is quite easy. However, you can't buy it. It is not available in the market. I think it will appear in the next 2 years. About beauty parlors, everybody gives them as example. Well, dry cleaners maybe. They don't have money, and their requirements, IT requirements, are very low. They use telephone and an appointment book. They don't want automation. They are not prepared to pay for it. Well, if we speak for beauty parlors. Okay, let's discuss it later. I'm Kevin Player. I'm co-owner of Microsoft in the sphere of vision. I have been implementing the system for 6 years. As to prepared solutions, big vendors always try to organize vertical solution. What we see in Russia, why? In Russia, well, in Russia it is more of medium-sized business. Sometimes we say, well, this is a standard solution, let's use it. And they say, no, 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 we are unique. There's a number of companies in the world who sell gloves, but we are unique. So when we need more standard solutions as compared to foreign companies. It's difficult to implement a system. The CRM is a small task. Well, you have a financier, an accountant, and CRM specialist. You started the production, and then the sales specialist gave up the idea and left the system, so the whole plan collapses. About customization and vertical solution, one of the problems is that in Russia everybody thinks he is unique. And since there are systems who allow to customize systems, this is why it is overlarge. About standardization, when the company is growing, and I agree with you, it is difficult. Patches are okay. You can make warehousing typical. And if you want each department to work according to one process and nobody knows them is in the company, well, this change management is the most difficult thing. When you make people follow the procedures, not the way they want, but the way the system requires. I agree, though I have seen when Megaplan appeared, it was done greatly. If you don't understand something, you should come from Mars. Good afternoon. Andrei Shabanov, the government of Moscow. I have a question. You must have noticed that Moscow is a business city and we have a lot of data at our site. I have a question to both Michaels. Do you have any ideas about Moscow? We have given 16 billion to business, and I must tell you that this year no company asked us for any data for CRM for small businesses, and we have 18,000 small businesses. Nobody is interested in our data for some reason. How do you distribute these data? We have most data where we place this data. For small business through our portal, 16 billion have passed, and nobody has done anything in this direction. Business doesn't seem to notice it. I will answer this question. In fact, I talk to people in Moscow who work in automation and create parking lots. In small businesses, there is a template. Everything that is related to government, mayor's office, government official is not for them. They don't like them. They don't trust them. So you should go hide them somewhere. And it is a stereotype in 99% of entrepreneurs. When you start talking to a person like that, you understand that they agree that there are also developers in the government and the mayor supports business, but they don't know about it. Business does not know about it. We need to organize a dialogue.
I'm sure you can start this dialogue and you'll find common language. Just nobody knows that that data is available. If you just said that, oh, we had this API, it costs this amount of money, we can do this and that. This is the first time I hear that Moscow is ready to provide the data. There's information vacuum. And I can also add that it's really that nobody knows about this. That's the problem number one. You should talk about this more. And you should understand that the developers are interested in their customers' behavior, the behavior of their users. For example, we roughly get several millions of reports from all over the world about our users and the way they use our software. So if it's very interesting to monitor the customer's behavior. When we speak about abstract data, it's not very interesting, like the fact that Moscow has 6,000 beauty parlors. It's all interesting from statistics point of view. The most interesting thing would be to see what these beauty parlors do. For example, do they what kind of accounting reporting do they have? How they make appointments for their clients? If we compare Moscow and other regions, I have to say that such market hasn't yet developed in Russia. In the developed countries, people can make a lot of money on data. They can sell and they can buy data. We haven't reached that stage yet. So you should be proactive. You can't find a person who is ready to buy it, but I'm sure there'll be many people who would be willing to buy some data. But we are going there because these cloud-based technologies provide much bigger access to data, and so the market will be developing in this line, in this vein. Good afternoon. My name's Anatoly Alexeyev. I actually was supposed to be a speaker. I'm the head of MacroNet, who was a protected network, and it's a global network set up by Lushkov, and we worked with the Communist Party. A part of it was given to the states, and then Google actually worked together with them. So what you discuss here, I know Nikolai Pryanichnikov, I know Microsoft. At some point we helped Microsoft, but their manager didn't pay us money. So what was accumulated before 1987 is used by 30% in the modern technologies. We worked with Research Institute 17. Can you be more specific? Yesterday we had a meeting in Mai with many specialists, and during the last 10 years, students work very actively. They don't sign agreements that they're going to work for closed military enterprises or defense enterprises. You now speak about internet shops, but it was back in the 1978 that all the standards were published. Related to different electronic systems for delivery of all kinds of components and spare parts. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you please be more specific and formulate what you mean? Well, anyway, yesterday we had this meeting, and the specialists were quite mature. They were aged 65 to 85, and we were thinking what countries should get all the data: Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and then they'll be able to have this tremendous breakthrough. Well, we talked to Yeltsin, then but it didn't really help. So we wanted to create our own office. We wanted to build our own system for 7 billion. So now my question. What technology should be transferred? and they should be transferred for free, because we train the students from different countries anyway. Well, we speak about electronic systems and defense systems. It's all about protecting information. This center was set up in the Soviet Union and then was handed over to America. So what's the question? You it's not quite clear where you're going. Well, we are all proud of Soviet technological heritage that we have from the defense industry. It's just whatever we develop it goes somewhere abroad to international companies. Would you like to get some unique developments? If you represent only business and trade, then maybe you're not interested. So those who are interested should contact you, right? Yes. We have a very big association. I agree with Mikhail completely that we have certain state structures that impede the development. Now, it's possible to use some state structures, some governmental structures that help promoting IT solutions. I can give you a very simple example. It's been 3 times that the president wanted to reduce tariffs. And I can tell you that it's possible to reduce those tariffs by 30 to 40% just within a few months. But GOS Standard Committee and the Minister for Energy resist this trends. So there's lots of things that are hidden at the moment. I agree with you, and I try to raise this topic, which is related to customers. It's like a jiu-jitsu struggle. You should use the inertia of your opponent. I wanted to make my comment here. There's mismatch between Russian and international IT business. We had an impression that in the late 90s we were at the same level. We no longer lagged behind, at least in terms of perception of technologies for business and the importance of technologies for business. So personal users never had that mismatch, and today's young generation use IT just like American youth. But when we examine business environment, there's a tremendous difference. And this difference is says that business doesn't want to introduce these technologies. Many people come to business, many young graduates come to business and suggest trying certain IT solutions. But then the managers ask, does anybody else have it? So they're not willing to introduce new solutions. And they don't understand that if they just introduce only those things that their competitors have, they won't have any competitive advantage. So today, many information technologies look obsolete because there are more and more trends coming up, like e-commerce. Then lots of changes related to big data, and using big data becomes a driver for business development. But our customers are not very passionate about this. I agree with this to a certain extent. But I can see some positive changes. And in the last few years, I saw many examples when business did something new. Actually, if you can get my presentation back onto the screen, I wanted to show you how our customers experiment with different things, and it's very interesting. Can you please open slide 20, because it shows some case studies. So I'll just finish my idea. Information technologies is something that can pull your business onto the next level. Of course, it's a big risk, but if you don't, if you are not afraid to take this risk, and the students come with their inventions, I would take this risk, because this is something new and nobody else has it. My name is Maria Bogdanova. I work in production business, which is quite rare for Russia. So maybe what you said is true, but I'm sure that there are some interesting suggestions for trade. And we had some problems related to ERP system. We wanted to integrate quite a few functions, but we haven't yet found a possibility to do so. We are using Microsoft, and still we lack some expertise. We are afraid of changes because our production process is running quite effectively, and I can say that not all IT specialists are so well educated, and sometimes IT specialists can't just provide all this information for us, because you are very special. So let me show you a couple of cases here. That you probably know there's a brand which is called Ukolov. So they had a very interesting idea. They had to promote feather coats so that more people began to wear their coats. So retail technologies are going through stagnation period, because sometimes you get coupons for discount if you go and buy something in some boutiques or shops. But it doesn't work in Moscow. Even if people get these coupons, they don't use them. So they had to involve these customers. So what they did, they got Kinect, and then they developed an application for Kinect, which was a game. So you had to get a certain number of points in order to get a coupon and make a purchase at a shop. They put this stand in a supermarket, and in 2 days they actually got all their money. They returned their money, just because they people were willing to play, and then they got involved into this process. And so that's just to show you how you can change your approach to sales. So if you really think about the idea and come up with some creative ideas, it can help a lot. Another example is related to Nokia technologies, and such big brands like Nokia also had some problems related to IT and marketing. Marketing became more independent, and many marketing units became more dynamic. So they used some platform for creating temporal sites. Apart from window you could use the short-term campaigns and then just shut down those facilities. So it's just a temporary service that you can use for some project, and you can host this website for a couple of months and then just shut it down. Maybe it's not about changes, but it's about technologies. And one other thing which might be relevant for you, every small company wants to have their own image on the mobile devices. And one of such examples is related to OG company. They wanted to have their internet shop in mobile phones. How much do you think such a application would cost? So cloud-based service that help you get this internet shop, get a mobile application, upload it everywhere, and just sell using the phone. So you don't have to pay anything. You just visit the website, identify the settings, choose the design from the templates, and begin to sell. And then you get all the payments through the phone, and everything is here on this platform. And there are these partnership solutions for developing mobile applications. So there are many suppliers that can provide this scenario services. It's a very simple structure. So you can use your logo, your brand, your goods, and you can choose one out of 60 templates and launch it just the following day.
Another interesting thing is about loyalty scenario and how technology is allowed to move fast. I think everybody knows Tinkoff. And questions for small and big companies is, what do people think about me? And what does network think about my brand? It is a difficult task for one person. If you make him read all the magazines and blogs, he won't cope with it. There are services for that, monitoring service of what goes on, what is said online about your brand. You set keywords and you analyze what people think about you in the network in connection with your new services or your influence on the quality of your goods. You can influence people, you can influence opinion leaders who have most contacts. The last example, I love Starbucks. Who goes to Starbucks to have coffee? Now you can have your own recipe. If you know what coffee you like, you can save it on your telephone. You just show your telephone your unique recipe, and you will have your favorite coffee. You can share it with your friend through the same application. The world is changing very fast. I have a very specific question. I'm from the sphere of education. And we have 2 websites. We are developing a platform that will work with regions. Moscow is great. Everybody has very good devices and internet. We're trying to develop a platform that requires 5 locations. I'm a linguist, so I can say something stupid. 5 video translations simultaneously. Besides, we also need flash animation, an interactive process of conversation. B2B and B2C platform simultaneously. So I have a question to Dmitry Marchenko. Can it be done today, or our regions are not ready for that? We have already written the billing and the investment memorandum. And now I understand that people in Novosibirsk may not have it. Is it too early, or can we start? Technologically. Of course, we decided to include social network there. It is for schools specializing in English. It needs a virtual component. Schools have interactive education. Of course, you can start doing it. Will people in the regions cope with it technologically? I'm an optimist, and I believe in it, so you should start. In practice, there are regions where internet works very well, much better than Moscow, Novosibirsk in particular. In terms of their competences, they can perceive these technologies. Let's discuss it after the session. Good afternoon. I have consulting business, corporate law, registration, liquidation. I have an entrepreneur who doesn't understand much about IT. I would like to develop. What should I begin with? I want to implement solutions, not to hire 10 specialists. Solutions that will increase my productivity. Does anybody? Specialized solution for legal consultants. Is it correct? I think that for anyone, not just for consulting or law consulting, there are 2 methods that are actually inseparable. You look at everything and you try to use what suits you, and then you come to developers and tell them, I want this. This is possible. It is precedent-based. Suppose you have a consulting business, but you saw this program in an alcohol shop or in a games store. And the second method is when you just use your imagination. You say, I want this magic stick. And you understand that if you had this magic stick, your business would be much better than your competitors. You should talk to IT companies again, whether they can do it or not. Many of them will be happy to do it for you as first customer and then scale it. Many IT companies might even be grateful to you. Many companies were born like that, like 1C companies, who developed accounting for themselves and then started selling it. May I add, first, I don't think that our small business is conservative. Why is Russian IT market more conservative? It's because we have too few small businesses. In the States, 50% of working population work in small and medium-sized businesses. In Russia, it is only 25%. In Russia, people want to work in Gazprom and not in small businesses. Gazprom is a very conservative company. The second thing is our attitude to money is very peculiar. And because we have survived the crisis of 1998 and 2008, when our small businesses see something they need, they make decisions quickly and buy new solutions. So if you ask me what you should begin with, there is no rule of thumb. There are people who do approximately the same you do. There are forums, Facebook groups, people talk, and if they have IT solutions that suited someone, they are happy to share their knowledge. The second thing is a look at foreign experience. The Russian IT industry accounts for 1 or 2% of global IT industry. If you look at what your foreign colleagues are using, probably this solution does not suit Russian reality. Like 1C accounting. Why? Because our legislation changes very often. Dynamics and my vision won't be able to follow it. So, having looked at foreign experience, you can either try it or look for something similar in Russia, something similar to foreign solutions. I don't have much to add. Stanislav is quite right. IT specialists are to blame for the fact that we can't explain things all clearly. In fact, in your case, you shouldn't expect that you will buy some IT solution and your business will be extremely successful. No. However, if you have some specific problem, and you think that IT can help you, you will find the solution easily. In your case, I wouldn't be looking for miracles. I would look for problems. There is no problem that you don't have IT. It means that you have money, and you shouldn't change anything. However, if you have something specific, my sellers forget to give calls to customers. My lawyers waste 2 hours to prepare for trials, and I don't want them to waste this time. There should be some solution that would increase their production. I think that IT can solve these problems, and Michael could answer your questions. There is no problem like I don't have IT. If a businessman thinks like that, it means that he's doing quite well and he shouldn't change anything. I would like to add, You can find anything in the network. Just you need to decide what you need. If you use something, if you use mobile cloud service, please offer feedback. In Russia, our mentality is that we seldom share good impressions. We normally share negative impressions. It's difficult to find feedback that will help you to find good solutions. Just write 3 words as comment. All our partners listen to what you are saying. They're interested in your feedback and improve their systems and services. The last question. I'm Losov from Antel Telecom. It is not really a question, just a recommendation. I was very surprised. We are discussing IT services, and it would be reasonable to discuss service-oriented architecture and also discuss systems that we have discussed in Web 2.0. Why don't we discuss this? Well, there are several topics that we haven't yet discussed. What about semantic computing? Since I read Computerra every day, I know about it. We shouldn't have intermediaries. You can just use services. A lot of things are implemented without intermediaries. However, it is not everything. The trend is in this direction, definitely. Good afternoon. I would like to share the solutions that were ignored here. I would like to discuss the tools that we use in our business. We have small business and we developed software, hardware and software. We have a lot of solutions. As a chat, we use Viber. Solutions are developed free of charge. You can send photos, videos, and there are vendor-list solutions. We know this list. What do you want to say? Most startups don't know about it, but these are free solutions that you can start using right away. Vendor-list, CRM. And separately, No, it is impossible to discuss the whole list. For each item, there is a list of 20 products that can be used in addition to Viber. This is our specific experience. Yes, you can find a lot of free products in accordance with your requirements. Google Docs and Yandex Disk solve all the problems for small business. Unfortunately, we need to close our session. If we had more time, I would give you more time, but one of the key ideas that we need to communicate, that I would like to communicate, is this. Technologies can help a lot, but they're not a magic pill. If your sales are dropping of anything, automation of this product, automation will not stop the drop of sales. means that there is a problem elsewhere. If you think of some other logic of sales and then you automate it, it's a good example. Alena Vladimirskaya invented a good idea. You declare vacancy, and all subscribers are told, send your friends, recommend us to your friend, no matter whether they want to get this work or not. If those who you recommended is employed, you will get some remuneration. You don't have to convene anything. You don't need headhunters. Candidates just appear in abundant numbers. It's easy to automate this, but it is the idea that is primary. And IT can do anything today, and even more than we can imagine. And tomorrow, new opportunities will appear. I will start from this. I think that now I'd like to close our session. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you.